All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Day Late Dollar Short Podcast. It is me, the bald and bearded one, and I'm joined by none other than Mr. Cam Kent, aka Mr. Happy Hour. Thank you for joining us, brother.
What's up? What's up, man? Happy to be here. Happy to be a part of it.
Absolutely, man. It's been a long time coming, so I look forward to this conversation.
Yeah, me too, man. I've been waiting to get on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So get right into it, man. So I know you're from Algiers, but kind of give me a background of how you grew up.
All day Algiers, man. Till the day I die, I say it. I even have a dog named Algiers, so I've been
Okay.
repping my whole life. But yeah, born and raised here in New Orleans. As people always ask, man, I went to Ben Franklin, I went to Lusher, De La Salle, then Tulane. So spent most of my life kind of in the same area, all up and through the uptown area. Played a ton of sports through school. And have always kind of like been involved in what's going on in the city and things like that. So that's just a little bit about me. Only child. I always say my parents hit the jackpot the first time they did it. So
Same, yeah, same thing, yeah. Only child.
yeah,
But I did see that your dad has a construction company. Was that something you were like kind of interested back then, or not really?
Yeah, so my entire family's kind of all in that entrepreneurial situation. My dad has been in construction since I was a little kid. My mom is a real estate agent, so their work goes hand in hand. And then he and I've always been on the construction site with him throughout life, so that's always been a thing. But he and I started doing homes together in 2018, 2019. So we built a couple houses, mostly, him building it, I invested in it. We got a
Yeah,
couple properties, we got a couple Airbnbs. So, that's something that we enjoy doing together too, as like a father-son situation and a family situation.
that's pretty cool, man. So kind of fast forward now. So I mean, of course, you're Mr. Happy Hour. So how did that persona get adopted by you?
It's funny. It was on accident. It really was in jest. So I used to stay off of Annunciation, kind of right outside of the warehouse district over in, I guess, the Irish Channel. But I was spending all my money on my rent and my car. So I didn't really have that much bread. So whenever people wanted to go out, I was like, well, let's find a happy hour. Let's catch these little $5 drinks. Let's go get these little bites. Same thing. There was, I wanted to go to Ruth's Chris. I wanted to go to Desi's. So I was figuring out ways to do it, and I found out about happy hours. So I was going to those, and then my homeboys would be like, "Hey, I'm going on a date. Where you think I should go?" So I would tell them that, and then and I was off on Fridays, so I used to go. So people just started calling me Mr. Happy Hour, kind of for fun. And I started the page, posting a couple places, and it just kind of grew from there. So at first I was just posting places, and then I did a like happy hour tour. So went to a couple places downtown. Most of the places aren't even around anymore. And then kind of grew it from there. So yeah, it's just been a labor of love, as they say.
Yeah, definitely. So to that point, how do you determine which place to go to? Like, I mean, New Orleans is a very big city. There's
Yeah.
so many options. So how do you kind of figure out which spot to check out?
So back in the day, it really was just based on whatever. Like I was just kind of scouring either the internet or I use Where You At all the time, the magazine to see who has it. I would
Okay.
just circle, oh, this is like a dope happy hour, circle it and go check it out. So I was kind of learning the city and exploring the city via that. It ended up being this really cool way to discover New Orleans and to see more about her.
Yeah.
So back then it was really kind of based on that. Now it's based on I really do a lot of stuff like in locale. So if I'm uptown, I'm probably gonna find 4 or 5 happy hours uptown. If I'm in mid city, it just kind of really depends on locale. But in the beginning, it was really about just trying anything and everything and whatever was new.
And that definitely stood out. Are you familiar with the Drinkers Edition app?
Yeah, man. I actually I met with them a while back when I first started, but they had a similar idea. They were compiling all of the happy hours and like drinking specials in an app to go from there. Yeah.
Yeah, I just found out about that actually last week from my the fam, Brandy White from Barnola. She kind of put me on game, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of dope. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
normally I will either go check out your page, see what you're doing. That's all this too. I'm like, okay, this
yeah,
is pretty cool. If you have
yeah,
options.
yeah. Exactly. They do a much better job of like compiling. I just show places. Even when people hit me up and they're like, "Hey, does this person have a happy hour on Sunday?" I gotta be like, let me go check my notes.
Yeah, man, definitely. And I know things kind of came to a halt when we had COVID, and you were very creative to make drinks from home. So talk
Yeah.
about how that concept came to you to not only be creative but also like make the time go by a little fast. I'm sure everybody was on lockdown, couldn't do nothing, but you made a point of emphasis that hey, you can still have fun while being on lockdown.
Yeah, man, it was, kind of like COVID did for everybody. We're at home and we're trying to figure things out. So I was ordering a lot more stuff and, kind of drinking a lot, not drinking a lot more, but, trying to be more creative with it. So ended up just kind of I couldn't get out to show people drinks. So I
Right.
decided to go ahead and do this. Is early Instagram. So this is like long form. It was no cuts, no like,
No
no
reels, yeah,
clips.
no shorts,
Yeah,
none of that. Yeah.
it was a straight 1 minute video of me, showing people how to make a margarita or, showing people how to make a mojito. And it was really cool. It was really fun. And then one time, this Avion Tequila hit me up and was like, "Hey, if we give you, if we give you, a bottle, will you show us?" And like that's kind of all the other stuff started was based off of that. But the pivot during COVID was really just based on being at home and still wanting to be active and doing things and going from there. There's a couple videos on there I always joke about. I didn't have a haircut. Your boy was out here looking
Nobody
fine.
had haircuts back then.
was just out here, you hear me?
Yeah. That's kind of cool. So what is your to-go-to drink?
My go-to is probably my top three: a sidecar, an old fashioned, and a margarita. So yeah.
Okay. Now this see that you actually created was it Black on February in 2021. We had to highlight some different Black businesses. That's kind of pretty
Yeah,
cool. So is that something you can
yeah.
kind of bring back in the future?
I really want to kind of evolve it. I have been a little inconsistent with it, but I would like to every Friday really focus on a Black business, showing off what they're doing. There's so many great Black businesses here in New Orleans and around everywhere, but here in New
Yeah.
Orleans that we really could feature and show. So I would like to evolve it to maybe more showing it like once a month. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, once a week on Fridays, if I can
Okay.
stay consistent with it. But definitely, Black History Month in February, we wanted to really feature Black businesses and get people out at those spaces as much as possible.
Yeah, and mine's always working, man. Like no matter what you're very creative. Just like that's just like a dope idea. Nobody really
Yeah,
thought about, hey, let's support Black-owned businesses, and then as a treat, I'll give you a gift card to that business. I mean, just
exactly.
so I'll probably think that's probably your family, huh? Just just y'all are just so creative when it comes to different concepts, huh?
Yeah, it's all about that. I think it's the creativity and what comes with entrepreneurship, but it's also I think one of the things that we always want to do is I don't want to say give back, but in New Orleans, in most places, whenever you see social going on, it's mostly like the bigger businesses, which bigger businesses usually end up being white or
Okay.
non-black. So, in those instances, like there's an opportunity to feature these really great Black businesses. So it kind of came upon that too. Even in my comments, and I always think it's kind of funny because I think I try and do a good job of featuring everybody, but people will be like, "Well, why haven't you shown this?" And I'm like, "Well, I actually did an entire month dedicated to you know Black businesses and things like that." So it's just you want to highlight everybody. Yeah.
So to that part, I mean, you have a big following. So when you make a post, how you go about trying to make sure you stay active with those people? Like, do you try to read and reply to every comment? Like, what's your process for that?
I do try and go through as many as possible. I can't say I do every one of them because I know I don't, but I definitely try and at least engage a little bit. And mostly, I like to engage when people either have questions or if someone says something, I don't want to say derogatory or whatever, but I just want to
Yeah.
I like to clear up whatever, like, hey, this is why I went here, or this is the experience I had here. And then also, like I said, just kind of making sure that I'm answering. I had a recent post about a brunch, and people had questions about it. I want to go make sure and I go ahead and answer those. So I do try and answer the ones that pop up and when people have questions.
Yeah, and you also do his monthly do cocktail classes. So how did that idea come about? I mean, clearly you was happy. I'm just kind of curious, just what's that? Oh no, let's just do a class. Like, just how that came
Yeah,
about.
man. So I've always wanted to do it. So kind of what we were talking about earlier. So I was during COVID. I'm making drinks at home. Tequila company reaches out and does a drink. And then COVID's kind of breaking. It's late 2020, early 2021.
Hmm.
Another brand was like, if we help you, would you like to get people out to make cocktails? And I was like, let's do it. Let's try it.
Yeah, yes,
I did my
yeah.
first event over at Sidecar. Shout out to Sidecar. We made old fashions. We made another cocktail. And it wasn't quite what we do now, but it was a really good forte into where I'm going or where I have done. So from there, pivoted, and now we do like hands-on. Everybody makes their own drinks and things like that. The last ones we kind of did some different things, but I think I want to say this is 2024. 2023 is when I added in Justini, who's a great friend. Justini's restaurant here in the Bywater, great spot. But she's been, a bartender and mixologist for a long time. So her and myself kind of partnered and took the cocktail classes to another level. So she kind of leads the classes. I host them. We just did one this past week that had 60 people in it. Everybody having a good time, showing off birthdays and things like that. We make a bunch of different cocktails, everything that deals with either tequila, cognac, whiskey, however we're feeling, gin, and have a good time with it. So those cocktail classes, kind of grew themselves and have taken a mind of their own. I really enjoy it. That's one of my favorite things to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
And speaking of brands, you had that. Well, you were actually flown out to Kentucky for Maker's Mark and kind of go to
Yeah.
the distillery, kind of learn that. So how'd that come
Yeah.
about?
Yes, kind of same way, man. Doing a couple events, and they reached out saying, we're really interested in, showing you how these things are made. A lot of times we're drinking and we don't know anything about what's going on.
No.
So to get the look behind the curtain, to see exactly how it's made was super super cool. Been there, and then also just recently came back from Mexico with Patron, and got to learn how tequila was made, which is tequila's right now one of my favorite, liquors and spirits. So that was really cool too.
Yeah, but kind of go more detail. So when you get these places, like what exactly you're observing? Like just when besides them making the drink, obviously, but just talk about just the
Yeah.
process of them doing the drink.
Yeah. So what's really big is the history on it. I think that's something that we also don't recognize and see. But when you go to the distillery, they're really passionate about where they came from and how they've matured over the years. So it's a lot of history stuff on it. It's a lot about learning about what they really care about. They talk about the notes in the liquor, or the barreling process. The barreling process is big both in whiskey and in tequila. A lot of times the barrels that they use in the whiskey or bourbon realm, so with makers, it's a fresh oak barrel. And they may get it from Canada, they may get it from America, they may get it from different areas that changes the flavor of the whiskey. And the aging process and how long it stays in there changes so many different things. And then on the tequila side, they actually age tequila in barrels too, and usually they're in whiskey barrels. So sometimes your tequila will have this like flavor profile that was created from this whiskey that had been sitting in there for 2 years, things
Yeah.
like that. So it's all of that. It's the in this past time when I went to Mexico, we did everything from going out to the fields to seeing how they harvest the agave, to going inside to seeing how they cook it and mash it, seeing how they blend, all these different things. We tasted a ton of different ones because right now reposado is super super popular. That's what everybody's
Yeah.
drinking. But we learned, from the silver to the reposado to añejo and extra añejos and things like that. So you just get a different perspective and feel on it.
Yeah. And I think I even saw too that you kind of put me on game. I haven't tried it yet, but I do want to try it. Uncle Nearest is the
Yeah,
only like black owned like whiskey in
I'll
America.
actually be in Nashville. They're based out of Nashville. This upcoming week, and going to check out Uncle Nearest's distillery. So I'm really excited about
That's
that.
crazy.
Yeah. So it's a black owned brand. So the person that's named after is Nearest Green. He is the person who taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey. So the
Mm,
Jack Daniels recipe is actually created by a black man, and the process is from Nearest Green. Fawn Weaver is a woman who found all this information out about it, kind of worked with his family to create Uncle Nearest whiskey. So they have like two or three of their of like permanent their prominent whiskey styles, and then they just recently opened a distillery within the last 2 years.
yeah.
And it has the world's largest bar. They have a barbecue spot on. They have a barbecue restaurant on site. It's a really beautiful facility from the pictures. So excited to see, just kind of see how that works.
Yeah. And man, as we've known so far, you are a man of many talents. You wear a lot of hats. You can also add moderator to that talent. You moderated Morgan Walker's Politics and Politics earlier
Yeah.
this year. So
Yes.
tell me how that kind of came about, and just the vibe from that.
Yeah, no, Morgan's a dope person.
Yeah, it was cool.
Along
Yeah,
with curating a bunch of events here in the city. She's also very passionate about where we're going on a political stance. So she has Bike and Vote, but she
right. Yep.
also hosts a ton of yearly or quarterly events geared around hearing about what's going on in politics. Because a lot of people our age either aren't voting or don't know what they're voting for. So her
Yeah.
whole thing is about educating. So when she reached out and asked me to moderate it, I was 100% in on it. We were trying to get more input from the community, especially again our age bracket.
Yeah.
So we hosted that at Politics, or she hosted that at Politics, and I was definitely really excited to moderate it and be with a couple people some that I had met and some people that I hadn't met.
Yeah. Who was there? His master was on the board.
Yeah, De
Yeah. Hold
Niro,
on. Yeah. Yeah. It was a really good event,
Troy,
man.
Troy Glover. Yeah. So it was a really, really good group.
Yeah, it was my first time actually attending like that kind of event, and I was kind of taken aback. I was like, wow, like we really are trying to do better for our community. Like you said, like most
Yep,
of us just don't vote. Like just like, oh, my vote doesn't matter. Like no, if you would take the time, your vote does matter.
absolutely.
So to kind of see that like firsthand, it was so great to see you guys come together, in our community and put an event so successful. So yeah, shout out to Bike and Vote and the Power Coalition, and that was
Yeah,
definitely a dope event.
yeah, absolutely.
So what's next as far as moderating? Is that another thing that's on the table for you?
Yeah, so I did Essence in July, and then the next one I'll be hosting a stage at Fried Chicken Fest.
Okay.
So I'll be doing Saturday, and then Natalie, Inner Fat Girl, will be doing Sunday. So we'll be sharing the stage. So we're really excited about that. That should be a good time. Fried Chicken Fest is one of my favorite festivals in the city, so it works out.
Nice. And you also hosted an event, not an event, but you were actually at French Quarter Fest. You had your own little
Yes, yeah, yeah,
stage. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So how like
yeah.
again, people reaching out to you, I assume. So talk about just, reflecting on people reaching out to you to like be, in the spotlight to
Yeah.
highlight certain things.
It's a real blessing, man, that happens. It's really, I think everything in New Orleans, I'm sure across the board, is on relationship based. So Kenneth, who's over Abstract Nola, he is also the lead person for French Quarter Fest and Satchmo Fest. So he reached out, wanted to have more New Orleans voices on stage. So myself, Meet Me at the Bar was there. I know Cortland did it. There was a bunch of people who from social media and have been around were invited to be on stage to host a little segment. So I did Happy Hour with Mr. Happy Hour. We did a Lynchburg lemonade, which was Jack Daniels, a little lemonade, a little Sprite, or Starry, and made that cocktail. It was really, really fun. Moms was out there. My parents came and took a picture of me and stuff like that. So that was a fun time. And French Quarter Fest, I said, Fried Chicken Fest is one of my favorite. French Quarter Fest is my favorite. So being a part of it was awesome.
Talk about just how busy you were. I went there to a couple events, but Essence Fest this past year was crazy. Like
Yeah.
the sidecar day party on Saturday was probably the highlight of my weekend going to that. So just how busy was that for you?
Yeah, man. So we started Thursday night. I feel like I did something Thursday that I can't think of, but Thursday night went and supported G Willie at his annual closeout event. I'm sorry, startup event at the Metro. And then Saturday morning, bright and early, was at the convention center. I hosted the food and wine stage for Essence. Um, Friday night, we did something in conjunction with Casamigos.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dog Izzy hosted his event that night. Um, Saturday we did the day party. Sunday we did something else. So yeah, it's really busy. It just I think everybody's just trying to take advantage of everything that's going on and being a part of what's going on in New Orleans. So yeah, it's no sleep during Essence. I always say that no sleep during Essence.
Or Mardi Gras too, right? I
Cool.
mean,
Yeah. Those are the two parts. Yeah.
so what's busier? Is it Essence Fest or Mardi Gras for you?
Um, I'm gonna say Essence is busier. Mardi Gras, because I do maybe one or two event style things, but Essence Fest, like every day and every night you're doing something. With Mardi Gras, like the things you're doing are mostly fun, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's a little easier.
Yeah, so to that point about events, kind of take me behind the scenes of what it takes to actually put an event together, like finding a space,
Yeah.
the theme for it. Like just like talk about the logistics behind the scenes of putting an event together.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that question because it's a lot more than people expect. At least for
Right.
me, myself and my partner are really intentional. Partner's name is Frost or Tashi, but
I know Tashi. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. We're really intentional about finding new spots. Toast on the Lake, so we had to go
Mhm.
find that space. We had to put all the furniture in it because it was a blank space, and really kind of push that and promote that. Same thing with the rooftop that we were doing this upcoming week. That's kind of a new space. Shout out to Meet Me at the Bar. Kind of was the first one to use that, but we've used it. And even the cocktail class spaces that I use are spaces that aren't usually places that we go to. So
Mhm.
the first thing we're doing is always finding the space. And like I said, I'm always looking for something off the beaten path, something that's really going to elevate the experience. Next is that theme. Kind of thinking through what's really important. Again, right now I'm big on tequila, so this upcoming event is called Tequila Sunset,
Yeah,
and going on that. Toast is now kind of going to be an annual event, so using that name is going to be something, and kind of really keeping it elevated is everything that we're trying to do. You want to have the hottest DJs, so
of
making sure
course.
that you can kind of lock in with them is a big important thing. And then getting that word out, man. You got to be on top of mind, and making sure that you're having the people there. So, but you also don't just want to have people there and they're not enjoying themselves. So that's
Yeah.
always a really important thing for us, is to try and make sure that we have enough bartenders, which goes in and out somewhat. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But
Mhm.
having that space for everybody is really important to us.
Definitely. And while that event is going on, like just kind of curious, what is the alcohol intake for you? Like, I'm sure you want
It,
to have a good time, but also kind
yeah.
of make sure everything's going smoothly.
It's usually pretty low.
Yeah,
When especially when events first start, I'm never drinking. I may have a drink in my hand, but I don't know if it ever touches my lips.
yeah,
But
yeah.
because I'm trying to make sure things are going right. I usually say once everyone has a drink, or once the DJ gets to their second level, is when I can calm down. That's when
Gotcha.
like things are at a good spot, and that's when I can go ahead and have a good time. That's why I'll go buy somebody a shot. That's when I'll go be able to sit down. But the first hour of an event, I don't ever drink. A lot of times people will see me with something that's usually like pineapple and a little club soda or something like that.
Yeah, kind of ease your way into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So to that point about Tashi, aka Black Frost, how'd you guys meet up?
Man, we've been knowing each other since high school. We went to De La Salle together.
Okay.
So freshman year of high school, we've been rolling. So what's that? 2003. We were 20 years in.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you also have Izzy. So how'd you meet Izzy?
So Izzy's been around. I'm really good friends with Cleveland Spears, who puts on a bunch of events, owns the Spears Group. They're friends, so we met with them together. I met Izzy through Cleveland, and our relationship has blossomed from there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, man, next coming event is this Sunday, September 1st, Tequila Sunset.
Yeah.
Are you excited now, or like?
Absolutely, man. I think
We're like about a few days away. So are you still doing like last minute adjustments, or like what's
last
the
minute
what you been
adjustments,
together?
a couple little pushes. We're actually sold out of all sections, which is, good. And then we'll just have a good time, man. Um, sorry, it's a little loud, but Herradura just locked in. So we're gonna be able to give out some free drinks to a bunch of people. That first 2 hours are probably gonna be, close to open bar. So, we're excited about it and gonna have a good time. And it's a beautiful space. So we're gonna have,
Yeah.
beautiful black people in a beautiful space.
Is it white linen, or you do wherever you want?
Wear whatever you want this time. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, just
Yeah,
making
yeah,
sure
yeah,
because
yeah. If you want to come in white, come fresh to death. But you can wear whatever you want.
definitely, man, definitely. But yeah, man, no, thank you again for coming on the podcast. We truly appreciate it. You do a great job. What you do, like we all see, like the great vibes you create. You create such great energy. So it's only fitting that whenever you have a party, we will be there. People will
I
show up.
appreciate it, man.
So keep up the great work, man. And thank you again for coming on the podcast.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. I'll see you this weekend.
I'll see you on Sunday.
All right, man.
Peace.
Peace.